and understanding how we collaborate as a team
Yeah.
to put something like this out there. So I
Hmm.
have several questions, many of them for both of us. And I thought I would start the process by bringing up one of the first questions, which was directed at me, but I think is for really both of us. The question was, how did I decide to collaborate with you for the Hidden Relic Hunter?
Yes.
And it's a great story, so I was glad someone asked. And for me, I feel like I put this challenge out there. Both of us have a mutual friend who did an auction for a
Hmm.
colleague who's facing cancer, and we were both involved. I actually won the bid for an auction that you had put up to do a recording. And it was a challenge I gave to you that I
Mm.
needed as a night owl to get a wake-up call in the morning that would get my bum out of bed.
Yeah.
And you came back with in spades,
Yeah.
with one of my favorite, which is a Scottish one that absolutely will never let me sleep in. And from that, I just felt like you created such diversity
Mm.
and had such a collaborative spirit about you, such a generosity about you that I wanted to collaborate with you.
Mm.
And I reached out and we started having some email conversations and things evolved from there.
Mm.
So that was my experience,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't change anything. So. From the flip side of that, as someone reaches out to you
Yeah.
through the pathways that are appropriate for collaboration, how do you make that decision?
I think I mean firstly can I say I don't think I've ever told I don't think I've ever said this to you, but thank you. You know,
Oh,
thank you uh for reaching out to me in the first instance because I mean that's it, you know, because this is I know that the Hidden Relic Hunter is such a precious piece of work and it's one that I'm so grateful to be involved in.
oh, thank you.
But I think for you, it is, you know, it is your treasure and you need to trust who you reach out to. So thank you for trusting me with that. And I think that's also part of my process is this something that I want to be involved with? You know, as a narrator, we get approached all the time with a whole array, you know, from different genres, from short stories to massive epics, you know, total series. And I think as long as I can find something in the work that I really enjoy,
Mhm.
something that kind of touches me in some way, that is brilliant. Unfortunately, we are, you know, as a jobbing narrator, sometimes I will be offered work that I don't necessarily, that doesn't touch me. Not every job that you do does. Thankfully, yours did.
Oh,
There is
thank you.
some, you're really saying something with your work, which does make a difference. It makes it so much easier. Um, but I think quality of writing, the professionalism of the people,
Mhm.
grammar, that helps. But I think it's a whole number of things. It's a whole number of things that contribute, and then it's kind of, you know, where in the balance are we? And for yours, it was really heavily on. Yeah, I really want to be involved in this.
Aw,
It was a
thank you.
simple. It was easy. It was easy.
Aw, thank you so much. I had a return to that,
Mm.
which is equally touching for me. And it was, what was it like to hear the finished audiobook for the first time?
Ah.
And for the author to experience your work
Mm.
um, is that same sense of measuring that you just described, and hearing the final product and experiencing for myself the level of detail um, and diligence that you brought to the story was an unprecedented experience. And I do listen to audiobooks all the
Mm.
time when I'm traveling. So I've got a lot of background in listening to that being done.
Mm.
And I was just, number one, so impressed with that sense of care that you gave to the work. And I think I knew I was going to get that kind of care when you did the recording of the prologue.
Mm,
And I think more than hearing the finished product was the moment that I heard the very beginning when you brought the first pages of the book to life.
mm,
Um, I cried. It was just this incredibly moving experience
mm,
that I knew. I was like, if this narrator will do this work, I must have it. And so I thank you for just bringing your skill, your diligence, your time, and your patience to the project.
mm. Thank
So
you. I mean, going back to
I,
something that I said earlier, this isn't something that you dashed off. Any narrator, sorry, any writer who, has the guts to put something out there. It's not something that's just dashed off. The amount of time that writers take to do this, and I think it's really important for narrators to give those words that care.
Mhm.
If they genuinely don't think that they can, then there will be a narrator who can. And I think it's just part of the job because it makes our job so much better. It makes it so much more enjoyable. Um, and at the end of the day, from my point of view as a narrator, I am blessed in that I get to play every single day. I've been a professional voiceover for over 30 years. And the fact that I get to do this as a living, it's
Mhm.
brilliant. So why, the thing is that I want to do the best. I want to be proud of my own work. And hopefully, just to thank you very much for your words. I'm so
Mhm.
pleased that you're pleased. That matters to me, you
Well,
know.
I am absolutely. And I love that we both have this idea of creating work that will exist beyond us.
Mm,
And one of the readers had asked a question about what do I hope listeners come away with
mm,
after hearing the audiobook. For me, it was like you had mentioned, there is the story there that I want people to feel and to hold on to. And that is that you are the architect of your life story. You craft your choices, and your choices create your story.
mm,
And I I think that you, as someone who has done that with your own life, you brought that truth to my words. And it was just incredible to see and hear that happen. And I think that's one of the things that, as a narrator, you have both the opportunity and skill to create. And I was super pleased with the outcome.
thank you.
There,
Ooh.
yes, and one of those, I wanted to lead that into another question,
Mm.
if I may, because of that. Was there a behind the scene feature that happened while you were doing the audiobook that you wanted to share with readers, um, that would kind of give them some insight about how you created the work or how you gave it that depth? And I'll let you share with them, and then I'll kind of give a flip side to that.
I think um, interpreting that question, as in the way that I will interpret that question,
Mhm.
has something happened or is something in my life that I brought to the book to give me that kind of, as you say, that truth. And for me, Sylvia's journey is one where something's happening and she's not sure what it is. It could be devastating
Mhm.
to her. Um, and she's kind of at other people's she's in other people's power. It's not that she's powerless. She's not, but it's because she doesn't understand what's going on. Because
Mhm.
and actually nobody knows what's going on. From my own life and our content warning, this is about a serious accident that I had. But I was in a very serious road accident. I was hit and run over
Mhm.
by a bus when I was cycling, and as a result of that, for a short while, I lost my sight. Very short
Mhm.
period of time, I couldn't see. And also, like in hospital, I was told that I might end up being paralyzed
Mm,
because I broke many bones, including my neck and my back. And in those first few days, I didn't know what was going to happen. I
mhm,
didn't know whether I would ever be the same again. All I knew is that I was in a lot of pain and I was completely powerless.
mhm,
Other people had all the control. The only thing that I could control was how I responded. And the
mhm,
way that I responded was to focus upon myself and just tiny, tiny steps. If I can do this, I've done that. That's a success.
mhm,
And I think that for Sylvia, that's what she's battling with as well. She's just trying to get through it. And so
mhm,
it's almost like she shuts out the noise and she focuses on what she can do. And so
mhm.
that's what I brought to that. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And it's incredible. And I think that's one of the reasons it has such depth in your reading, and your narration, because that is exactly the point of making those choices each day
Mm,
that kind of keep you, and that we're not always going to make the best choice. We make the best choice we can at any given time,
mm,
and the best choice we're capable of within the context of pain and disruption and
yeah.
grief and other modalities. And you, just from knowing you and working with you, you bring such cheerfulness and generosity and fun to what we do, that I can imagine you facing each day like that,
Yeah.
and that helping you navigate a very difficult place. Um, so thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you for
Oh,
bringing
that's okay.
that
That's all right. Just
to,
to tie up that story. Um,
yes.
I'm not paralyzed. I've done 3 100-mile cycles since then. I've done 2 triathlons. Um, I have had other accidents since then cycling. I've cycled from London to Devon. So anyway,
Wow.
my oh, I think if you set yourself massive goals, they're
Hmm.
really hard to achieve. If you
Hmm.
set yourself smaller goals, you're achieving something all the time.
Uh-huh.
So, like
Yes.
see the positive all the time. I do try to. I'm
Hmm.
annoyingly cheerful in the morning, which my wife sometimes finds irritating. But anyway, yeah. So I just wanted to.
Yes, and I feel that every time we chat, and I think that brings that positivity brings an energy. There's that energy, and I think that's where I built the science fiction, and this ties in nicely with my behind the scenes
Mm,